next week getting back to, really kind of like getting back on a schedule, kind of like calibrating with Pat, Daydream, you guys know him as, and yeah, tired. Stayed up late last night. I went to bed at like 11:30, it's very late for me. We stayed up watching Train to Busan, which is this zombie movie, and I'm not like a horror movie type person, but we'd heard from a lot of people that we like respect the opinions of that it was really good, and I will make exceptions for Korean horror because it's usually like super deep and actually like beautifully shot, and I've got to say it was. So yeah, is the music too loud, guys? Maybe let's lower it a little bit. Is that better? Well, anyway, we're getting started in just about a minute here. So what we even do here is practice connecting the breath, the body, and the mind so that we can more easily navigate the rest of our lives off of the mat. And we do that through a series of meditation and yoga practices, as well as some other practices I've picked up along the way. Share that with you. We'll start with a seated grounding meditation and then move into a movement yoga practice, which will include some joint resiliency, some yoga poses you're probably more familiar with, as well as some other functional movement and lymphatic shaking, breath work, and we'll end with a nice long shavasana, final relaxation. So as you come in, feel free to type into chat any recommendations or requests. If there's a body part that you are interested in specifically working into today, or a pose that you're working towards, you just let me know and I'll make sure to include it. So for the meditations throughout class, I won't be answering chat, but I'll answer you once we start moving again, so feel free to type away, and just know that once we're done meditating, then I'll read and respond. So we'll get started seated tall, finding a comfortable seat, either on the ground. I like to sit cross-legged. It's called Sukhasana, easy sitting pose. But you might feel more comfortable in a chair, and that's just fine. We'll sit with heart up over hips, head over heart. Hands come to land on the lap, either palms down to ground down, or palms up to give and receive energy if that feels like you've got a little extra to give today. Make sure our devices are on silent. And eyes can close or lower to a soft gaze, not looking at anything in particular. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and out through the mouth, an audible sigh as the shoulders drop away. And just allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose at a natural pace. We'll take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And become present to yourself here in this moment, here in this space. And begin to allow sounds into your awareness. Letting all sounds in. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. Begin to scan your body from head down towards toes. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. And if the mind wanders, bring it back to the body. Taking note to work into these spaces that call out for your attention throughout your practice here today. And we'll shift that awareness from the body, Annamaya Kosha, to the energetic level, Pranamaya Kosha. Noticing where you're at in this moment on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And bring attention to your breath. No need to change it, just observe inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. Bringing the attention up to the mind, Manomaya Kosha, allowing thoughts and feelings to arise freely. No need to engage, observing them from a distance, like clouds passing in the sky. Notice what are the quality of the thoughts today. Do they have a positive or negative tilt to them? Are they slow forming and sparse, or almost too quick and crowded to keep track of? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, just something to notice. We'll bring the attention back down to the breath. This time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhaling fills belly like a balloon inflating. Ribs and belly expand. Exhale, deflates, ribs and belly pull in, belly button pulling all the way in towards the spine. Breathing in and out through the nose. And we'll layer on our pranayama, our breathing technique. This month we're working on Ujjayi pranayama, victorious breath. It's also commonly known as ocean sounding breath. We achieve it by bringing a slight constriction to the throat, just enough so that you can hear your inhalations and exhalations. Almost like you're trying to fog up a mirror just in front of your face, using only your nose. Letting the breath be long and slow, working to deepen and lengthen the breath. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. And on your next exhale, releasing any constriction from the throat, any effort from the breath. Returning to your natural pace. Perhaps affected by that pranayama, that breathing technique we practice, these breath exercises to build a relationship with the breath, so we can work with it as a tool in the rest of our lives to calm ourselves out of sympathetic fight or flight mode and into parasympathetic rest and digest mode. We'll invite the hands to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. No space between the fingers and the thumbs pressed into the sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice. It might be the Sankalpa, heart's desire that you've been working with all year, New Year's resolution, or something new may have inspired you to show up to your mat today. The invitation is just to set it at a affirmative and present tense. For example, it might sound like, I flow through life with ease and grace. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. You're invited to chant along with me, of course. First, a cleansing breath. Allow the hands to release to the lap, chin drops towards chest. And allow the right ear to roll over towards right shoulder. Good morning, Sergio. Good morning, Swiss. Allowing the head to roll over to the left. So inviting some movement into the body, rolling the head side to side. Good morning, my friends. How are you? Your eyes can still be closed for this. Really no wrong way about it. Extend the head, rolls through center, bring it up to neutral, and begin to roll the shoulders forward. Need to wake up the upper back, space between the shoulder blades. We'll roll the shoulders back. We need to open up the chest. And coming to stillness in the shoulders, we'll inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, bending over to the right. Left arm reaches over. Actually, bring it back a bit. Reaching over, sweep that left arm in front, right arm follows. These nice big sweeping motions over to the right. So it's pretty free movement here. Really no wrong way of doing this. We're just waking up the spine. Really trying to get in a deep lateral bend here, so a big side stretch. Then we'll change directions, sweeping all the way over to the left. Right arm sweeps in front, left arm follows. Let's see. And last time. We'll meet back up in center. And with a deep exhale, twist over to the right. Left hand lands on right knee, chest opens to side wall. Inhale back up through center. And exhale left. So it's not the deepest twist of your life, just the first couple twists of the day, likely, at least the first couple twists of class. Inhaling up through center. Exhale, like wringing out the air. Once more to each side. Good morning, Liv. And last time to the left. And bring the hands down towards ear height. Give the hands a wave. Yes, Lucy says hi. Then palms flip down, fingers wiggle side to side. She slept all morning. So you see that yawn? She just got up. We all just got up. It's Saturday. We're working to wake up with the sun, so we've been getting up just around 6, a little earlier. But today we waited a little longer. And palms flip up towards the sky, fingers spread wide. I'm going to rotate the hands. I'm really pressing my hands back here as if my fingertips are going to touch my forearm. So yeah, just trying to get linked up with that circadian rhythm, that sunlight. It's not so easy when you're living in a modern world with all the lights, all the artificial lights that we have going on. But I think the effort's worth it. I'll let you know. We'll shake off water. Anytime you go to like adjust your schedule, it's gonna like take some, well, adjustment transition period. For 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right. So we'll work on our neck real quick. Well, not real quick. Slowly and intentionally. Going into our actually, you know what, I think let's do this instead. Let's just let the chin drop back down towards the chest and roll the right ear over the right shoulder. Taking the right hand, place it on top of the left side of the head. I'm not pulling, I'm just letting the weight be enough. And left arm reaches away and slowly touches down. So my fingertips are just grazing. I'm not touching the floor or anything like that. I'm still reaching, reaching, reaching. Really open up this space in the trapezius muscle on the side of the neck. And I'm going to give my head a little nod, yes, to find where the sweetest part of that stretches. Once I've kind of found it, I'm going to hold it there and the breath continues. And release the hands back down to the lap, chin rolls through chest, and roll the head over towards left shoulder. So left ear over left shoulder. Left hand comes to land on top of the right side of the head. Just the weight of the hands enough, no need to pull. Right arm reaches away, and then slowly touches down until fingertips are just grazing the floor. The entire time I'm actively reaching, letting the shoulders melt away. That's going to give you a deeper stretch in the neck. Give the head a little nod, yes. Notice how even just the smallest of movements changes where you feel the stretch. And when you find where you feel the sweetest place is for that, we'll just take 3 deep breaths in and out through the nose, nice and calm. And releasing the hands back down towards the lap, chin rolls through chest, bring it up to neutral. And we'll send the legs out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Change directions. We're just waking up the lower legs here. We'll bend in the knees. Feet come like mat's distance apart, pretty wide. And just gently drop the knees side to side. Legs far enough away that the feet don't stack. We're just letting the hips kind of warm up here. The next time the knees fall over to the right hand comes in close to the body, left arm sweeps up, and the hips press up as well. So we're lifting the hips and the chest, rolling up onto the knees. You want to make sure there's a mat or a towel below your knees. And then hips touch down. We sweep it over to the other side. Knees drop to the left, left hand close to the hip on the ground. Right arm sweeps up as hips and chest rise. We'll connect this to movement to the breath. Inhale to rise. Exhaling to pivot over. With each repetition, you might press a little deeper into the rise, into the hips, into the chest. So the next time the knees fall over to the right, bring our hands to frame the right knee and bring it back to a tabletop pose. Hands below shoulders and knees below hips. And then inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise for cow pose. And exhaling, round in the spine, chin tucks in towards chest for cat. Inhaling through cow, hands press down and back, knees press down and forward, like you're trying to scrunch your mat together to get a deep arch in the spine. Really opening the abdominal muscles. And exhale, rounding the spine, opening up the space between the shoulder blades. Hands press down and forward, knees press down and back. Using that grip on the ground for leverage to deeply round the spine. Calibrating the speed of your body to the length of your breath. Sometimes closing your eyes makes that easier to tune into. The next time you exhale, let that be your last round, returning to a neutral spine, neutral pace. And then we'll sweep the right arm open for a tabletop twist, and we just give the right arm 3 big circles, like backstrokes. And the next time the right hand is up at 12 o'clock, we exhale to weave it through for thread the needle pose, but don't land quite yet. Bring it back open with a deep breath in, and exhale to reach through. Once more like this. And this last time we'll come down to land. Right ear, right shoulder lands on the ground. Hips stay over the knees. And the right arm's pressing into the ground, almost like a kickstand. Working to locate where that nicest part of that stretch is on the right arm. The harder or softer you press into the ground changes the positioning of that stretch in the shoulder blade. Left hand's pressing into the ground hard enough that we lift the left shoulder over the right. So I'm really working to bring a twist into this position. I'm breathing into this right shoulder, neck. Option here to extend the left leg long. Just looking my toes on the ground just to start. You can even get like a little bit of a calf stretch here, pressing the heel back. And then to play with balance, you might just point the toes, and the foot's just floating up off the ground, and slowly begin to levitate that leg up towards the sky. Moving nice and slow, momentum's not your friend here. Slow and controlled, and still breathing the whole time. The pose ends when the breath ends. So keep that breath going no matter what. Deep breath in, really reaching through that leg. And exhale, float it down with control. Foot touches down, just like pressing rewind. Release the knee down to the mat. Pressing into the left hand, right arm sweeps open towards the sky. And exhale, hand touches down to the mat. Left arm sweeps open towards the sky. And then like big back strokes, we've got 3 rotations. So I'm warming up the shoulders today for what's to come. The next time your hand is at 12 o'clock, we'll exhale to weave it through, but don't land. Just reaching through. Inhale to rise. Exhale, weave. Once more like this. And this exhale, coming down to land. And I'm just gonna turn over so that I can still face you guys and face chat. All right. So we've landed left ear and left shoulder onto the ground, right hand's pressing into the earth, hips still over the knees. So if you've ended up sitting back like this, just bring the whole top body forward. Really working to stretch out the left shoulder blade. So pressing this left hand into the ground stronger or softer to kind of calibrate where that stretch is, and the right hand presses into the ground so hard that we lift the right shoulder up over the left or towards it, bringing a twist into the spine. You might extend this right leg long, keep the toes on the ground, and press the heel back, perhaps getting a bit of a stretch in the calf. Miss Mango, good morning, my friend. We're working on opening up the shoulders and the upper back today. And if you'd like to play with the balance on this side, first thing is you just point the toes. It's just a slow float off the ground and a slow motion levitation up towards the sky. So we're moving with control. It can take even more than a breath to get all the way up there, as you don't want momentum. I mean, if you do get momentum, you may just end up rolling on your back and it's all good. I've fallen out of this and many other poses. But the slower you go, the more controlled you go, the stronger your muscles will get. The small stabilizing muscles. Yeah, so we're not really building big bulky muscles here, the ones that you show off. We're mostly building functional connections within our joints and muscles themselves. So you're breathing fully here, even in the difficulty or the challenge of the pose. And then like pressing rewind, it's a slow return down. Just tuck and touch down. Gently release the knee down to meet the left. Press the right hand to the ground super hard and left arm sweeps open. We'll release the hands down to the mat. Alright, so here we are back in our tabletop pose. And we'll stretch out the hands just a bit, some wrist resiliency work, some anti-carpal tunnel work, by turning the hands out to this way, 3 and 9 o'clock, right, on an analog clock, fingers spread wide. Oh, where's my leaf? There, I misread your name when I was upside down. How are you, leaf? And we're gonna gently rock side to side. If you got a little more space to play, or you find yourself really having to move quite a bit, you can always bring your hands in closer to one another. If your hands are in super close and you're finding it hard to move at all, just spread your hands out a little bit further apart. No matter what, the palms stay glued to the ground. I'm going super slow here. So we're building up strength in the wrists. This should feel intense, but not sharply painful. Found out I could do handstand push-ups today. I was hyped. Okay, good for you. Did you just try it out for the first time, or have you been working towards it? So you keep the fingers spread wide. They're also pressing into the ground. And the next time you bring your weight up over your right wrist, hold it there, and the breathing continues. So this is like a deep, deep wrist stretch. It involves the forearms, the palms, all of that. Last deep breath here. We'll bring the weight over the left wrist. So one might feel different than the other. We're just noticing it's not about better or worse. It's just about noticing. Been training overhead presses for a while, trying out body weight stuff, and now taking a break from weights. Okay, cool, fun. Good for you. That's like a huge accomplishment. I think it's about a balance of weight training and your own body weight stuff, just because functionally it just works to like kind of know where the counterweights and counterbalances are within your own body. But then weight training is really important as well if you want to push past. You tend to plateau if you're just using body weight stuff, but it's all about body awareness for sure. Last deep breath here. Bring it back to center. We'll unrotate the hands back to our tabletop pose. So I just turned around so that you could see what the movement was. We'll tuck the toes under, sit the hips back onto the heels, and then give the wrists a bit of a massage. Getting into a handstand is definitely like one of my low-key goals this year. Fingers interlace, and we're just gonna do some little wrist flossing here. Change directions. So all this wrist resiliency and strengthening that we're doing is kind of a dual purpose in my life, like undoing all the drawing, texting, typing, little monotonous, small, repetitive movements, and also building up some strength for a handstand. So, keeping it fun. All right, let's bring the, not to move back. All right, so here we are in tabletop pose. Right foot steps up between the hands, and we'll let the left foot step up between the hands as well. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat, and we'll bend the knees, drop the hips deep and heavy, chest and shoulders come up over the hips, and then press the hips up high, head is heavy for a forward fold. So we're going between deep squat and forward fold. So it doesn't have to be your deepest deep squat in the world, your foldiest forward fold in the world, wherever your life. We're just waking the body up to this motion. And the next time your hips are up high and your head's down low, we'll hold it here and the breath continues. Maybe releasing the hands from pressing the ground away, allowing the knees to bend a little or a lot. And give your head a nod yes. Give the head a shake no. And grab opposite elbows. Give yourself a rock side to side. Couple more breaths here in ragdoll. Just getting familiar with this forward fold. And waking up the backs of the legs and the back. We'll release the hands. Heel toe the feet in towards one another. Big toes come to touch. A little space between the ankles, between the heels. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands on shins. Crown of the head towards the front of the room. Hips towards the back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Heavy head comes up last. And arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Turn over. See you guys there. Awesome. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Once more, and this time we look up between the hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. And exhale, hands down to the ground. Right foot takes a step back. We'll drop the right heel down to the mat. So the foot's making a 45-degree angle. Almost like it's pointing towards the front right corner. Left foot, heel toes a bit closer to the left edge of the mat so that you're not standing on a balance beam. Your legs are nice and wide, nice and stable. Left knee over left ankle, and we'll roll it up to warrior one. Left hip's pulling back, right hip's pressing forward, so much so that you feel a stretch on the calf. So this is squeezing in towards center with the legs. Namaste, Kashav. Welcome back. How are you, my friend? Hips are squaring to the short end of the mat. Instead, it's just squeezing in towards center, almost like you're trying to scrunch your mat together in Virabhadrasana 1. My arms are up overhead. We just allow the shoulders to melt away. And then fingers interlace and place it behind the head. Allow the thumbs to release down the sides of the neck. And then the head presses into the hands. Hands press into the head. and elbows open out to the side. So I'm using the leverage, the pressure of the hands on the head to open the shoulders, or open the elbows out, giving the shoulders a stretch. You might even tilt your chest up to get a deeper stretch in the front side body. Still breathing fully. And release the hands from behind the head. Bring the shoulders back up over the hips. And release the hands down behind you. Fingers might interlace like you're holding your own hand. If not, if your hands don't reach, you can grab like a sock or a towel to bring between the hands so that you can reach, or a belt. If they do reach, we're pulling the shoulders back together like shoulder blades as if they're going to touch one another, and pull the hands down towards the ground. Pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Deep breath in here. And then exhaling, waving down. Belly, chest, head. We roll it back up. And exhales for the wave down. Inhaling lifts you back up. Strong in the legs, they're your foundation here. And this next time you wave down, will stay there, and the breathing continues for your humble warrior. So, two options here. The belly can land on top of the thigh, chest on the knee basically, and the arms are reaching up towards the sky or even up overhead, depending where your shoulders have the flexibility. Alternately, you can drop the shoulders inside the leg, the left leg, and press the left shoulder against the left knee, bringing the hips back towards center. Head can be heavy. Breathing fully here. Bring the palms towards one another. And bring the palms down towards the lower back. Unlace the hands. Hands come down to frame the front left foot. And we'll press onto that leg, extending it straight, raising the right leg up towards the sky or even the back wall, up to whatever height works for you for a standing split. So the head is heavy here. Let it work as a counterbalance for the foot. Doesn't matter how high it's going. It's not about the location of it. It's just about getting to your edge of how far you can go. And we'll bend in that standing leg knee. Right foot touches down to touch left toe. A little space between the ankles. And inhale, halfway lift. Hands on shins. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right, warming up here. Okay. So, leaning here in Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead, reaching tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Left foot takes a step back. Bending in the right knee to make that so. And then drop the left heel down to the mat. So the foot comes to a 45-degree angle, almost like it's pointing towards the front left corner of the mat. We'll heel toe the right foot towards the right edge of the mat, not quite touching, but just a little space, at least hips distance from between the feet. And then pressing through the legs, we bring it all the way up to Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. My right hip's pulling back, left hip's pressing forward. You're going to feel a nice little stretch on that left calf muscle. Shoulders melt away from the ears here. We're finding a drishti, a focal point ahead of us. I always imagine it's like where the sky would meet the ocean, on the horizon. And fingers can interlace and come behind the head. And just change the interlace of the fingers. So if the right index finger is on top, bring the left index finger on top. So it's a goofy grip. It might feel a little bit awkward or unnatural, but that's okay. We're just creating new pathways in the brain as we work with the non-dominant hand. The head presses into the hands and hands press back. So both hands and head are pressing into one another. And you use that pressure to open the shoulders by pressing the elbows back. You can go ahead and tilt the chest up and lift that drishti from the horizon, maybe up towards where that front wall meets the ceiling. So the higher your gaze goes, the more challenging it is to balance. Or anytime you refocus or shift the gaze, choose a new drishti, it's going to be a challenge. Legs stay strong here. They're squeezing in towards one another. Right leg's pressing back, left leg's pressing forward. So squeeze in towards center, lifting up through the chest. Strong press open through the elbows, and the breath is the strongest thing of all. And we'll release the hands, release the chest back over the hips, and hands come back down behind you. Fingers can interlace at the lower back. If they do interlace, once again, change the grip. So non-dominant index fingers on top. We pull the shoulders back, pull the hands down. Still right knee trailing over right ankle. Deep breath in here. And exhale, we begin that wave-like motion. Belly, chest, head, and roll it back up with the inhale. Exhales wave you down. Morning, Greg. Thanks for the lick. Inhale rolls you up. So it's also, just as we said before, momentum is not your friend here. We're working slow to build up these small stabilizing muscles. Build up the connection points in the joints. Not looking for big bulky muscle here or anything like that. Looking for stability and mobility. The next time you wave forward, belly, chest, head, we'll hold it here in our humble warrior. Two options. Belly and chest can come to land on that front thigh. And then you can just work on the shoulder mobility here by reaching the hands up towards the sky. Alternately, you can drop the chest inside that right leg, pressing the outside of the right shoulder with the inside of the right knee. Bring the knee back over the ankle, bring the hips back centered, because they have a tendency to roll over to the right, but we want it all in center. And breathing fully here. The head be heavy, legs strong, breath strong. Maybe the palms are even working in towards one another for an even deeper squeeze and stretch in the shoulders. And then the hands can come down to the lower back. Unlace the fingers and hands come down to frame the front right foot. We'll press all the way into that front left foot and the right leg, front right foot, and the left leg floats up behind you for your standing split. So the hands are maybe a foot away from that right leg. And letting the head be heavy. It's working as a counterweight to the left leg being able to lift. So it's almost like your forehead's trying to come down to your shin. If you feel pretty comfortable here, it doesn't really matter where this top leg is. If you're feeling pretty comfortable, you can start playing with balance a little bit more by bringing the hands to that standing leg. There's always like more fun little challenges. Once you start to feel too comfortable, you just gotta remember this is a practice about being in intentional discomfort so that we can learn to work with it instead of against it. And give a little bend to that front knee. Left foot touches down next to right. Big toes come to touch. A little space between the heels. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale rolls you all the way up, stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. So we'll turn to face one another. Hands come onto hips. We'll let the right knee open out to the side. And drag the foot in to the ankle. So the toes are just lightly touching the ground here. You might even play with bringing the foot up to the calf, not up to the knee. Super tempting, but the arch of your foot will also fit nicely on your calf muscles that you've been growing in class. Just like a cabinet door, this right knee's really pulling out. I'm squeezing the foot and standing leg together. I'm pressing the hips forward to even deepen that squeeze. Another option here is you might bring the foot to the inner thigh. You can use your hand to help you get there. But still there's that pulling out. So we don't want the knee to be facing forward. We want it out to the side like you're between two panes of glass. Two panes of glass. So really squeezing the glute, pressing the hips forward. As the bottom half of your body presses down through that standing leg, the top of the body reaches up. Crown of the head reaching up, elongating the spine. Vrikshasana, tree pose. And hands can come into prayer in the heart center, or to continue working on this shoulder opening that we've been working on all class. A little added challenge. You might come to prayer pose behind your back. So it's going to look like bringing your hands together. Well, I'll show you. Hands together behind your back, and then it's a flip. Inwards and then upwards. Oh, can I do it? Yes. Sometimes you gotta make stuff up. Well, this isn't made up. The twirly twist part was made up. All right, so you'll notice here, to get the hands together, it takes a lot of wrist mobility, flexibility we've been working on, and a little tilt up in the chest. So you lift the chest, the little chest pop, right, up. There's a little more space for the wrist to play here. I'm trying to press my palms together, bring my shoulders down, away from the ears. Don't need to lift them. That's not going to help, I promise. Just got one more breath here in Vrikshasana, tree pose. Then like pressing rewind. Unflip the hands and flip this foot down. Take a deep breath here. I know it's tempting to shake out this left foot. We're just going to just be there. Be there in the discomfort. All right. Weight comes into the right leg. Left knee opens out to the side. We'll drag this foot in towards the ankle. The knee opens out like a cabinet door and it stays open. It stays facing the side wall.
Maybe the foot drags up to the calf. Even if your toes are on the ground, you're still in the pose. You're still in this Vrikshasana. I just want you to be especially careful that your left hip hasn't dropped down. Keep it lifted up. Not higher, but the same level as the standing hip. This is like a tendency that'll happen, and it's going to make it way harder for you to start lifting the leg later on. You want to build this hip flexor strength. All right. Maybe the foot's at the calf. Feet and legs squeezing together. Or maybe the foot's at the inner thigh. And then the inner thigh, if you're in a place where you can reach up here, but you're like, I can't let go of my leg. If I let go of my leg, it'll fall, it'll slide down. Then you're going to want to press your hips even more forward towards me. Squeezing the glutes in. It's going to help build the tension between the foot and the thigh. Knees opened out to the side like you're between two panes of glass. Finding a hand placement that works for you. Maybe that is that reverse prayer pose behind the back, between trying to get the pinky side edge of the hands between the shoulder blades. Breathing fully here. Vrikshasana, tree pose. If you find yourself falling out of this pose, you just reset, just like any other pose. We begin again. There's plenty to gain, plenty to learn from resetting and entering a pose. There's 4 parts to every posture. Entering it, sustaining the posture, exiting the posture, and integrating the posture. So sometimes we're just caught in a loop. We're not even caught in a loop, but as we're learning, we're in that beginning. Just entering, practicing the entering, like hoping to get to the sustaining. And I totally understand that frustration, and it's all welcome here, as long as you keep trying again. Or release the hands, release the leg. You can start to give it a shake out. What do we got here? Is this a good song for... I want to find a good song for our shaking. Yeah, this will work. Cool. Isa, good. Hello. I was going to say good morning, but I know it's nighttime for you. So you made it just in time. We just finished balance. We made it just in time for our lymphatic shaking. Hello. The hands to shake out. So we're bringing a shake to the whole body. Woo. Bringing a shake to the whole body. You can do that by lifting the heels, dropping the heels down strong with bent knees to create this like shake reverberation. Alternately, you can bring like a whole jump to the body if you've got like a lot of energy today, but even just the lift and the drop is going to be great. I let the shoulders rise and drop heavy. So this is going to be a great way to shake off your day. For me, it's the morning, but even still, I love this. Oh, yay, good. I'm glad you're familiar with it. Awesome. So liberating and exhilarating. Yes, this is like a really great way to build up. It's like a wake-up call. Like a shot of espresso, or in yoga you'd say it builds prana, builds life force. So yeah, so it's a really great way to shake out. Imagine like when dogs are playing and it gets too rough, and then they like step away from one another, they shake it off, and then they become friends again. It's like you're shaking off any bad vibes, any tension in the body that might have built up. You don't even need to specifically have anything in mind. It's all these little small things that build up in the body. In yoga, it's called samskara, which are little and blocked energy points, like knots in your back. or tightness in the hips. And it just kind of builds up over a lifetime of trauma and also small things. So, you know, you go to step off the sidewalk and a bus almost hits you. Oh, okay, maybe you forgot about that by the next hour, but your body's still holding on to that tension. I've just come home with heavy shopping. This is perfect now. Yay! Good, I'm so glad. So, I know you've been breathing in and out through the nose all class, but now we're gonna let the exhales come through the mouth as well, and you can even bring audible sigh, which is clinically proven to help reduce stress and tension in the body. We just keep it bouncing for a little bit more. When you feel like stopping, just bring your hands above your head and shake out the arms. All right, attached to our shaking it off practice, we have our letting it go practice, and that's called breath of joy. So that's gonna look like a 4-part breath, 3 sips of air in through the nose with no exhale, and a big ha exhale on the way out. And it goes arms sweep forward, sip of air in, arms sweep out, sip of air in, arms sweep forward, sip of air in, and a big ha, arms sweep back. Mindful, and the inhales, we're just moving the shoulders. We're not arching the back, so no popping of the back. Keep it neutral. The exhale, we are sweeping back. So we had about 10 of those. And feet nice and wide, knees bent. Make sure you're far enough away from your furniture that you're not going to hit anything. So it goes in, 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 ha, in, 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 ha, in, 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 ha, 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 ha. 3 left. If you haven't joined in yet, now's your chance. Ha! Ha! Last one, make it count. Ha! Ha! Feet come nice and wide. Seems like a lot of Kundalini yoga. Yes, I've spent a lot of time in Kundalini class and practicing under those teachers, so I found lots of benefit in that. Hand comes to the belly, hand comes to the heart, feet nice and wide, and your eyes can even close. We'll just take a moment here to observe. So good to shout from time to time to release tension and emotions 100%. This practice is all about letting go. Like I said, you don't even need to have something that you specifically have in mind to release. It allows you to release tension even without specifically going into it. So here we just take a moment to notice what was created, what shows up for you in this practice. Basically, taking your body like a snow globe and giving it a righteous shake. Now we just observe to see where that glitter dust settled, what was revealed. And what shows up when you let yourself yell, when you let yourself shake and take up space and be loud. Or what shows up as resistance to stop you from fully participating. Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. And we'll gently blink the eyes open. You might take a sip of water or towel off any sweat that may have built up. Yeah, so when I was going for my first yoga teacher training at Kripalu, which is like a intuitive movement, hatha yoga. Best way to describe it, I think. It's not the best way, but it's one way of describing it. I got to live in this academy, this yoga center, and in the mountains, no internet, no caffeine, no TV, no phones, nothing for a month. And and I was in a room with like 7 other girls or 6 other girls, and my bunkmate and I got along really well. And we would our class started at 5:30. Hi, Sancho Bermuda, welcome in. So our class started at 5:30. So sadhana started at 5:30. So daily practice, and it ended at 7. So it was an hour and a half, 90 minutes every day, same exact thing. And we're in silence. We're not allowed to talk until after breakfast. It's a good thing, sacred silence. But my roommate found out that there was a Kundalini yoga training happening at the same time. So, or at the same time that we were in the center in a different room. So we woke up extra early to catch the 4 a.m. Kundalini yoga teacher training. So we would like sneak out of the room in silence, sneak into their room, and hey, I just got here. Will you restart the story, please? It was a mountain retreat. Oh, it was a yoga teacher training. Yeah, so this was my first yoga teacher training. Yeah. It's just a month basically, like living off grid in this yoga center. And yeah, so like I was saying, our class started at 5:30 a.m., but the Kundalini yoga teacher training started at 4 a.m. So we would sneak out of our bunk beds and go into the Kundalini yoga teacher training and catch the first like 55 minutes of their class. And they were super cool. They let us go and they like practice on sheepskin and all of that, and like sheep fur. And then we would sneak out of there, like sneak out and we'd chant and like do all the Kundalini yoga, and then sneak into our 90-minute yoga class. That was actually like what we were there for. And then during breakfast, like all the Kundalini people would be really nice with us. We weren't allowed to talk, so it sounded like we could actually like speak to them, or they could speak to us. But it was like smile, nod, kind of like respect. Oh, first one of the month off grid. First one and a month off the grid, right? And no phone. No phones, no caffeine, no internet, no TV. I was like writing love letters to my. Well, he's my husband now, but he was my boyfriend at the time. He still has them. Have made a yogathon Twitch page. Woohoo! I'm really good too. Preparing for a chilled out evening. You're the best. I know what you're talking about. Okay, cool. So if you're already on the ground, that's great. We'll meet you there. If you're not, then you can come down with me. Sorry if that's loud. Just adjusting. It was too far. Oh, no worries. We have a meditation later coming up, so maybe that'll help you recenter. All right, if you're already on the ground, you stay there. But if not, you can come down with me. Arms sweep up overhead with a deep breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. And exhale, hands come down to the ground, bend the knees deep, 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 so deep that you come down to seated. I actually wanted to work on, okay, so Keshav just completed on pranayam. Beautiful. What are you practicing which technique are you practicing? Which pranayama? All right, so I have a couple more shoulder stretches for us. Making a little bit extra, but that's okay because we had a little story time to cool down. So we're gonna come, yeah, for sure, probably in 10 or so minutes. But you're welcome to join in here. Just mindful if you're just joining in, because we're gonna go into some pretty deep hip and shoulder stretches that we've been working up to all class. So just go at your own pace and take your time and don't hurt yourself. All right, so tabletop pose. Then bring the knees together. So my knees are touching. Right leg goes back behind you like extended tabletop. And then place the right knee to the outside of the left knee. So my legs are crossed. Then I bring my feet far apart from one another and then walk the hips back to sit in between the feet. If your hips don't touch the ground, you can place like a towel or a block between them, right? So, yeah. Okay. Oh. So it's called Gomukhasana, cow face pose. No one technique. Great. So here we are. Left knee is trying to stack over right hip for Gomukhasana, cow face pose. You can bring your feet in closer to your hips for a little bit of space, or if you feel like your hips are really open here, you can bring your feet further apart and sink your hips even closer to the ground, trying to get both hips onto the ground equally, like both sits bones. My left one wants to stay popped up, so I'm trying to press it down into the blanket because it doesn't quite reach the floor yet. Arms sweep up overhead. The right hand releases down. Left hand comes to the back of the head. Right hand, back of the hand is going to come to the lower back. So it's like I'm making a lightning bolt with my arms. I'm going to press into my head, press into my lower back to bring the elbows back. Alternately, or not alternately, also, if you still have space in the arms, you can walk your fingers towards one another. So I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm even talking about. Ooh. All right, so we got this nice hip opening happening here, but here's what I'm talking about with the arms. You can be here, awesome, pressing the elbows back, or you can walk the hands in towards one another. Maybe even grabbing onto one another, but what you don't want to do, okay, so what you do want to do is walk the hands in towards one another and keep the elbows pulled back. What you don't want to happen is this. So if you can grab your fingers, but you're rounding forward, your elbows coming forward, then just back off. Let it go. Little space behind. I love Gomukhasana. Yay, good, I'm glad. This was one of my least favorite poses because it was hard. Like when I was younger and I first started doing it. And I was like, oh, this is hard, so I don't like it. And now I'm like, okay, it's hard. Now I do love it. Say, how are you? Happy Saturday. Not sure I wrote the right spelling. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Yeah, what's it called? Downward facing dog. Can't go wrong with that. All right, so here we are. So say that you are here and your fingers are interlaced. You can press your arm into your head into your arm to get an even deeper shoulder stretch. And we're breathing here. Even in the intensity of this pose. Chest is pressing forward, staying tall in the spine. For this last breath, you might even give it a little hinge forward, folding over that front leg. Press it back up to seated. the hands. Nice and gentle. You might give the shoulders a roll out once or twice. Then rolling forward, just like pressing rewind. Rolling forward. Extend the right leg back. And touch it down for a tabletop pose. So now we'll come even it out on the other side. Knees come to touch. Left leg extends back behind you like extended tabletop pose. And then we release the knee to the outside of the right knee and bring the feet far apart. We'll send the hips back, back, back to sit down between them. One side might be different than the other. Svanasana. Yeah, the spelling. But in the end, the spelling doesn't matter as long as everyone knows what you mean, and that worked. Yeah, I knew what you meant right away. Like Issa knew what you meant. Adho Mukha Svanasana, which is definitely a mouthful. So here we are, and then one side might be different than the other, so you can kind of adjust accordingly. Like maybe on this side you don't need a blanket, or you need a higher blanket. Either way, it's all good. Arms sweep up overhead, and then we'll release the left arm down. Right hand comes to the back of the head. Left back of the hand comes to the lower back. And we're pressing hands into the body to open up the elbows. Pronunciation is a little different. That's what my teacher told me. Yeah, I definitely am just speaking from like what my teachers have told me, and so I would never claim that my Sanskrit is correct compared to anybody else. So I'm always open to being corrected and updated in my pronunciations. And the hands can walk towards one another. You might be surprised. One side can feel really different than the other in this arm stretch. So you always want to try to find your edge. It doesn't have to be informed by the other side of the body either. We don't really treat our shoulders equally throughout the day, so they might respond differently in the same pose. When we're breathing here, maybe the arms pressing a bit into the head, head's pressing into the arm just a bit. Stay up nice and tall. And on these last couple breaths, you might even give it a fold forward, folding over this front leg. And press it back up to seated. Release the arms nice and gentle. You might give it a roll out once or twice. We'll roll onto the knees just forward. Extend the left leg back behind, and then place it down for a tabletop pose. All right, got one more shoulder stretch here. It's called puppy pose. Or some people call it inchworm, but I think puppy pose is actually the correct name for it. And we're gonna keep the hips up over the knees and slide the hands forward, bringing the chest and armpits towards the ground. So, mouth, chin, or forehead's on the ground, pressing the hands into the ground so hard that the elbows start to lift. And then from here, if you'd like a deeper stretch, you're really pressing the chest and shoulders down to the ground. So it's like a cow pose in the top back. And then I'm going to tuck the hips. So let me show you. The top of my body is arching back, but from my lower back down, I'm rounding forward. Does that make sense? So I'm rounding forward on my lower back, but I'm arching back on the front, and that's going to create the resistance to open up the upper back and shoulders even more. Yeah? So, here we are. Mouth turn and forehead down towards the ground. I'm pressing my armpits down towards the ground, arching my upper back, and I'm pressing my lower back, trying to tuck them under to create this tension and even deepen the stretch in the shoulders. And we're just here for like 1 deep breath, or like 2 deep breaths. And then just let your body slide all the way forward. Hands come down behind you. And once you can rest on the ground, knees can bend. Let's give the knees a rock side to side, releasing any lower back. Release the feet down to the ground and we'll flip over onto your back. Knees come in towards the belly. Give yourself a rock side to side. All right. Both knees come over to the right, stacking left hip over right hip. Right hand lands on top of left knee, and left arm opens up like the letter T. Press the shoulder down towards the ground for Supta Matsyendrasana, supine spinal twist. Looking over this left arm, the whole body's relaxed, just the left shoulder's pressing down towards the earth. Head comes back up through center, knees come up through center. We'll gently release the knees over to the left. Right arm opens up like the letter T. Just pressing this shoulder down towards the ground. Everything else is relaxed. It doesn't matter if the legs touch the ground or if the knees touch one another. Just letting breath and gravity do the work here. Bring the head back up through center, knees back up through center, and just notice, is there any last wiggle or stretch or pose that your body is asking for as we prepare for Shavasana? So all class, we tell our body what to do, and now we just ask back, like, is there anything left, anything we can do back for it? It would really round out the practice and have it feel satisfying and restful. And then we'll take a moment to get into Shavasana, final relaxation pose. Everyone's favorite pose. After all that hard work, we get to rest and integrate all that we've been practicing. So the legs come down the length of the mat. Legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open to the sides. Shoulders tuck under just a bit to support the chest. And the arms release down by the sides, palms face open, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity, allowing yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. Head is neutral, neck is long, and the eyes can close if that's comfortable for you. If not, soft gaze to the ceiling is just fine, not looking at anything in particular. If you know laying flat on your back is going to bring any tension or pain to your lower back, you can bend the knees by bringing a blanket underneath them, a rolled blanket underneath them, or bend your knees deep. Feet come nice and wide to the edges of the mat and allow the knees to knock together. Press the hips up off the ground, slightly tucking them to elongate the lower back as you lower down, lumbar spine presses into the ground, and then release all effort, all muscular effort for a broken bridge pose. So this will help keep length in the lower back and alleviate any lower back pain. And traditionally, it's practiced with the legs down the length of the mat. Whichever variation works for you. I'm coming up to seated so that I can actually lead you through this instead of talking to the sky. This is comfortable. Beautiful. Great, I'm glad. So, play some Tibetan singing bowls for you as well. So we'll start this practice. Okay, great. Just as we did our last grounding practice with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. An audible sigh. 3 of them, but just let the shoulders be relaxed this time. And allow the breathing to continue in and out through the nose, if that's available. Allowing your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Every exhale sinks you deeper and heavier into the ground below you. Invite space between top and bottom teeth. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. As all the muscles in the lips and cheeks relax. Nose and nostrils rest, gently allowing air to pass through like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets, eyelids just barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens as all of the muscles in the forehead relax. Muscles surrounding the ears rest. And the ears with all their wrinkles and folds, all the way deep into the ear canals, rest as well. Back of the head, top of the head and hairline all relax. Neck and throat release. And the shoulders melt away. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, whole hands alive with vibration, whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Chest and belly naturally rise and fall with the breath. Pelvis, glutes, hips, rest heavy. Thighs and knees melt away. Lower legs and ankles relax. The heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet and the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Notice if in your mind, if only for just one moment, there was silence in that inner dialogue. Notice if in your breath there's space. Notice if in your body the places of tension have found ease. The places of restlessness have found peace. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more and nothing less. As you invite your inhalations to deepen, let the fingers begin to wiggle and toes begin to curl. And that feeling of heaviness in the body, replace the feeling of lightness and expansion, attention coming to the front side surface of the body. His head begins to rock side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. May your knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural. Landing in a fetal position, you can use that bottom arm as a pillow. And bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today. Or you might set one now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we worked on a series of upper back, chest and shoulder opening postures. The first namaste said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste said out loud to the community that held this space. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who joined me today. I hope you found something that serves you. Thank you so much, Isa. You're going to add me to recommended streamers. I really appreciate you. I'm really glad that you're finding this class positive and worth sharing. Swiss adding me to the host list at Fitness Yoga. Yay! Wow, you got. What a great day. I feel so loved and supported by the community. I appreciate you guys so much. Sandro, how was that? Focusing on breathing. Yeah, I think that's the best place to start and potentially stay. Kashav, namaste to yourself. That was unique. That was really good. Thank you. I'm really glad that you guys are finding a benefit to hanging out with me and if that's restful for you. You are loved and supported. Thank you. I feel very loved and supported. I appreciate you, Isa. Shout out to Isa. If you guys don't already, I've seen a couple of you guys on there, but Kashav and Sancho, I don't know if I've seen you on Isa's classes before, but during the week I try to raid into her because I can catch the end of her class and her Shavasana. She's super good vibes. It's good. It's my third class. They've all been good. I'm still working on the exhale. Ah, wow, yay. I appreciate that. The exhale, the or the ha. Is it one of those? Yeah. A really good, people think deep breaths are all about taking a really deep inhale, but a lot of them, really to start, it's just about fully exhaling all the air, building up those abdominal muscles that surround and support the diaphragm. So good for you. Good for all of us, right? Greg, with your cute little parade of heart people. I love it. Happy weekend, everybody. It's been so nice having you all here. I'm so happy you all get along. And I think some of you guys already know each other. And I don't know if I can do this. Oh, let's see. Zoot. Oh no, I'd have to set it up, huh? I know guys who meditate for hours. I was trying to reach at that point. Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely am just leading people through just like intro to like presence, mindfulness. We might work up to like longer meditations later, but I think even just being seated for those 12 minutes in the beginning and then
laying down for the last like 8-10 minutes is already like a lot, or like a good place to start or work up to. And then from there, it would be expands from there. But I'm definitely not a meditation master. I'm definitely much more confident teaching yoga, or like more advanced yoga poses than I am more advanced meditation techniques. So I know my place. So, but I do have some great meditation teachers in my life that I could recommend. They're not on Twitch right now. They're much older. They're not like on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, maybe by the time I'm their age, I'll be a meditation teacher, or like a very skilled one, but much more confident in teaching people to flow. My grandfather was one of them. He used to make us do meditation, but I'd end up in half an hour. I mean, half an hour is still like a beautiful practice. All right, so let's rate. Swiss, do you have somebody new? Yeah, I literally just typed in sets and reps into my raid thing, and I was just gonna ask you, is there anybody else? Because maybe there's somebody that like I haven't met yet that you wanted me to raid, but that you want to recommend to raid. But I literally had just typed in sets and reps because he's super fun, good energy, and he's pretty different from my stream too. So, all right, we're gonna. Oh, Fuzzy Wuzzy, should I do that? Because I just raided into sets and reps like yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I mean, he's really good energy, so there's nothing wrong with that. Let's do this though. Weep, weep, weep. All right, much love from me to you guys. So we're gonna head over and raid a new friend, and just send him some tiger emojis, and I'll see you guys same time, same place tomorrow, and we'll do some Chandra Namaskar, some moon salutations